Commanders fans, welcome back to the channel. And before we get into this emotional breakdown, before we talk about the mistakes, the heartbreak, and the one recurring problem that cost us yet another winnable game, let me say this. This team is fighting every single day to get better. From the coaching staff to the players grinding through injuries, Washington is pushing to improve, to bring results, and to rebuild the culture we all want to see. So right now, before we begin, hit that like button to support the channel and help push this video to more Commanders fans, because today's story, you need to hear it until the end. Let's talk about Madrid. Let's talk about the pain. Let's talk about accountability. And let's talk about how Washington once again let a winnable game slip right through its fingers. The Commanders fall to the Miami Dolphins in Spain, their sixth straight defeat. And not only was it another loss, it was another self-inflicted loss. This game was ugly, sloppy, chaotic, and painfully symbolic of everything that has gone wrong over the last 2 months. But at the same time, this game was right there, absolutely there for the taking. And that's what hurts the most. The defense, after weeks of struggling, actually played with fire, urgency, and discipline under Dan Quinn's direct play calling. They created turnovers, they kept the Dolphins uncomfortable, they gave the offense multiple chances to win. But mistakes. 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 You cannot win in the NFL with this many breakdowns on special teams, offense, and situational football. And today, it all came back to haunt Washington. Let's start with the unit that has quietly been the most unstable part of this team all season: special teams. Fans have been warning about it since week 1. Coaches have tried to shrug it off. Analysts have been gentle in criticizing it. But you can't hide from the truth forever. Matt Gay, our veteran kicker, went 2 for 4, 2 misses over 50 yards, including the 56-yard attempt that would have won the game. Gay is now kicking at just 73% for the season, and he's 4 for 9 from beyond 50 yards. For a kicker brought in for consistency and range, those numbers simply don't cut it. Not in this league. Not on a team that is constantly playing in close games with a thin margin for error. But it wasn't just the field goals. With rookie Jalen Lane injured, Mike Sirenstill was forced into punt return duty. He's a competitor. He's a leader. But this isn't his natural job. And in the biggest moment, he muffed the punt, a mistake that gave the Dolphins the ball late in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. This is the kind of recurring issue that can't be dismissed as a one-off. It's not bad luck, it's not misfortune, it's a systematic problem, and today, it burned us again. Even after the special teams implosion, believe it or not, Washington still had a chance. Overtime begins. Washington gets the ball first. You could feel the tension. The opportunity to steal a game that felt unwinnable. Then one play, 1 second, one decision. Marcus Mariota throws his 5th interception of the season on the very first play of overtime. And that was it. Game over. Season, essentially, over. Mariota has done his best. He's fought, he's tried to lead this offense through injury after injury, but this was the kind of turnover that you simply cannot make, especially when you have the ball with a chance to win. It perfectly summarized Washington's entire season. The opportunity is there, but the execution isn't. After the game, head coach Dan Quinn looked devastated, not defeated, but deeply frustrated. He said it plainly. We had an opportunity to go win it, and we didn't get that done. And he's right. He talked about the defense creating takeaways, and then the offense not capitalizing on them. He talked about missed touchdowns in the red zone. He talked about missed kicks. He talked about dropped returns. He talked about losing the moments that define whether you win or lose in the NFL. Quinn didn't blame anyone by name. He didn't point fingers. He didn't throw his players under the bus. But he made it absolutely clear. This team lost because it failed in the key moments. Again. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Let's be honest. There is zero real heat on Dan Quinn's job. Fans respect him. Players respect him. The entire organization respects him. He took this team to an NFC Championship game last season. He stabilized a franchise that had been in turmoil for years. He helped build a culture that players actually want to play in. And with the defense improving under his direct control, nobody is questioning his coaching ability. The problem is not scheme, it's not heart, it's not effort. The problem is execution across multiple position groups from players who simply aren't getting it done. And Quinn knows that massive changes are coming in the offseason. He even hinted at it. He knows this roster needs an overhaul. He knows the young guys need more support. He knows the veterans aren't playing to expectations. He knows you can't survive in the league with this many breakdowns. But until then, he has to keep this team together and find something, anything, to build on. Washington leaves Spain with a 3-11 record and, ironically, an improved draft position after jumping the Dolphins in the order. That's the only real silver lining. This season has been defined by injuries to key players, special teams instability, offensive inconsistency, defensive collapses, and missed opportunities. And at some point, you have to admit what this season truly is, a rebuilding year that got derailed faster than anyone expected. But that doesn't mean it's meaningless. The bye week is coming at the perfect time. This team needs to reset, refocus, heal, regroup, because decisions made in the final stretch of this season will shape the offseason and the future of the franchise. Overtime heartbreak to Miami, and now the Commanders sit at 3-11, staring down a season that has unraveled faster than anyone expected. What was supposed to be year one of a new era, a smarter era, a disciplined era, a long-term build, has turned into week after week of setbacks, injuries, underperforming units, missed opportunities, and a roster that shows glaring holes every time the lights hit the field. But now the questions are shifting from the players to the front office. More specifically toward Adam Peters, the architect of this rebuild. Peters is brilliant, he's respected, and he's still the right man for the job. But this offseason, he took one gamble, one big swing that has finally come back to bite him, and it's time to talk about it honestly. The Matt Gay gamble, a calculated risk that failed. Let's rewind. Early in the offseason, something unusual happened. The Indianapolis Colts surprisingly moved on from Pro Bowl kicker Matt Gay, one of the highest paid kickers in the league. He hit free agency for a moment, and Adam Peters pounced. He didn't waste time. He didn't hesitate. He didn't negotiate lightly. He gave Matt Gay the highest one-year salary ever given to an NFL kicker. This wasn't just a signing. It was a statement.
Peters believed that if you're building a team around a young quarterback, you must stabilize every detail, especially special teams. He believed a proven veteran kicker could give Washington the reliability they lacked in close games. And early on, it didn't look disastrous. But over the past few weeks, reality has set in. Hard. Week 11, the breaking point. Against the Dolphins, the season's most painful moment hit. 2 missed field goals, both wide right, which has been a recurring issue throughout Gay's career. The worst part? One of those kicks would have won the game in regulation. Instead, the door stayed open, momentum flipped, and Miami walked out with the victory in overtime. That miss wasn't just a mistake. It was a gut punch. It was the moment fans said, okay, enough. And it was the moment the pressure shifted squarely onto Adam Peters. Because this wasn't a flyer. This wasn't a cheap experiment. This was the largest kicker contract of its kind, spent on a player whose inconsistencies have followed him everywhere. The problem runs deeper than a missed kick. Here's what makes this a real issue. Matt Gay hasn't been reliable from long range. He hasn't been consistent in clutch moments. And Washington simply can't afford that. Not with a young QB, not with an offense that already struggles to finish drives, and not in a season where every small mistake feels like a boulder rolling downhill. Gay took accountability after the game, and credit to him. He didn't hide, didn't blame, didn't deflect. He said the loss was on him. But professionalism doesn't erase reality. And that reality is simple. Adam Peters' biggest offseason risk has become his most costly mistake. What happens now? Peters has 2 choices. With 6 games left and no playoff stakes on the line, the Commanders have a decision to make. Option 1, ride out the season with Matt Gay. Let him finish the year, reassess in the offseason, and quietly move on. The team isn't competing for a postseason berth, so ripping the Band-Aid now doesn't necessarily change the trajectory. Option 2, make a decisive move during the bye. Cut Gay, bring in a young kicker or a practice squad challenger, send the message that accountability applies to everyone, even veterans brought in on premium contracts. And here's the thing.
Adam Peters is not sentimental. He's not shy. He is ruthless when it comes to constructing a roster. If he believes this team has a better chance to salvage something, confidence, culture, discipline, he will not hesitate for a second. As one executive told a reporter this week, Peters is building a standard, not collecting players. And that matters. But here's the bigger picture. The Matt Gay signing isn't just about a kicker. It's a symbol. It reminds us that the Commanders are still early in this rebuild, still learning, still figuring out which veterans belong in the foundation and which ones don't. This roster needs upgrades everywhere. Offensive line depth, pass rush, defensive backfield, weapons for Jaden Daniels, and yes, special teams consistency. Adam Peters will have huge cap space this offseason. He will have the power to reshape the roster. He will have the freedom to correct the mistakes that finally caught up with him. This season feels like a step backward, but it may be the painful year that fuels the real turnaround. Commanders fans, it's been a long, painful stretch, and today's loss in Madrid felt like a gut punch because it didn't have to happen. Washington beat itself. Again. But now I want to hear from you. Who do you blame most for the loss? Special teams, Mariota, or someone else? Should the Commanders move on from Matt Gay after the bye week? Do you still trust Dan Quinn to lead this rebuild into 2026? Drop your opinions in the comments. I read every one. And before you go, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to Commanders HQ, and turn on notifications so you never miss our breaking news, insider reports, and exclusive analyses. We're here every day, win or lose, giving you the truth that Commanders fans deserve. HTTC Commanders family, I'll see you in the next one.